Happy Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever day you're watching this. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as I always say. Today is either it's the 12th, which is Tuesday, or it's Wednesday the 13th. Whatever day you're watching this, make sure you put the right date. And we're going to talk about similar figures and scale factors. That's the title of this video, Similar Figures and Scale Factors. Make sure you're taking notes in your composition book, please. So, similar figures, we wrote this definition before. Similar means they're the same shape, but they're different size. And so we have two ways that we can go. We can go from being small, pretend that's a nice shape, and then we can get bigger. Or we can get from bigger and we get smaller. So we can go bigger. If we go bigger, then we are doing an enlargement. And if we get bigger to smaller, then we're doing a reduction. And so if we're doing an enlargement, then the number that we're going to multiply by, our scale factor, which we talked about again yesterday or Monday if you're on Wednesday, the scale factor is going to be, what you multiply by is going to be greater than 1. Greater than 1. And if it's a reduction, then the scale factor is less than 1, but greater than 0. So it's greater than 1 for an enlargement, and it's less than 1, but greater than 0 for a reduction. So we're going to do some examples. This is on page 3 in the workbook. That's where these problems are coming from, for Module 6. And so we're going to do some examples. The directions ask you to give in the shapes to the pre-image and the image. It wants to know what is the scale factor. And so in this case, the smaller one is my pre-image. That's where you're starting from. And then the image is what it looks like once you're done. And in this case, our pre-image is the big one. It's what you start with, and then our reduction, this is your image, the smaller one. So you start pre-image and you end at the image. So here is our first example. We have triangle, this will look like this, and then this is my pre-image. And then it ends with triangles that look like this. And this is my image. And so it gives us some side lengths. This side length here is 1, this is 2, and this is 1.5 or 1.5. And then they give us all of the side lengths on this one. How nice. 4, this is 3, and this is 2. So the question is, it wants to know what is the scale factor. In other words, what am I doing to go from here, from 1 to 2? What am I multiplying by? So I'm going to go times what number? And once I find that, it better work to go from here and to go from here to there. It better be the same for all sides. So I'm trying to figure out 1 times what number gives you 2. 2 times that same number, does it give you 4? And 1.5 times the same number, does it give you 3? So I'm trying to figure out 1 times what number equals 2. So you can set up an equation, divide by 1. This case really is, you can see, I think you have figured out already that 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, and 1.5 times 2 is 3. But if you didn't remember that, you could have set up an equation and then just divided by what you were trying to find. So question marks equals 2. And so if I go 1 times 2, I get 2. 2 times 2, I get 4. And 1.5 times 2 gives me 3. So that was example 1. And so this, all I had to do here was find the scale factor. So my answer is the scale factor is 2. And it was getting bigger as an enlargement, so that goes along with the scale factor is greater than 1. So that was example 1. Example 2. Example 2, we have this big shape. This is my pre-image. I'm going to write it inside here. And then we're going to shrink it down to make this little baby shape like that. And this is my image. So I'm going to write it outside there. All right, pre-image, image. So the pre-image they give me, this is 2, and this is 10. And my image, this is 2. The side length on here matches this bottom, corresponding sides. I don't know this one. I have to figure out this one. I need to figure out what is this length and what is this length. So it wants the scale factor. And it wants to know the missing sides. So I have to do both. Well, I need to find my scale factor first. If I'm going from here to here, I'm getting smaller. We are not going to say divided by, but we're going to say what are we multiplying by? So it's multiplication, not division. It's not subtraction. It's not addition. It's multiplication. And so this would be divided by 5 gives me 2. Or we can say we're multiplying by 1/5 if you want to go fraction-wise, because 10 then would be times 1. Divided by 5 gives you 2. Or you can set up that nice equation again. So I'm trying to think 10 times what number will equal 2. And then you can solve your equation. Divide by 10. So question marks equals 2/10, which if you divide by 2, you get 1/5. Or in the decimal would be 2/10 like that. Or on your calculator, if you do 2 divided by 10, you get 2/10 like this. So my scale factor is 0.2 or 2/10. So if I go 10 times 0.2, you should get 2. So here's my calculator. 10 times 0.2 equals 2. Ta-da! Gave me 2. And so now I need to find this one. So 2 times, to get to here, 2/10. So 2 times 0.2 gives me 0.4. That's one of my answers. And then now it's what number times 2/10 gives me 2.5. So I'm trying to go from here to there times 2/10. What number is that? So again, on what number times 0.2 will equal 2.5. So now I need to divide by 2/10 to figure this out. And so question marks equal, put it on the calculator. 2.5 divided by 0.2 equals 12.5 or 12 5/10. And so this long length here looks longer than 10, so I'm glad I got 12. It looks longer. Is 12.5. So that's my other missing side. So I found my missing sides. I'll just put highlighter there. And my scale factor, I'm going to highlight in green, is 2/10. So there's my 2/10. There's my 2/10. There's my 2/10. And here's how I found my 2/10 right there. Okay, so there's 2 examples. This last example is a little bit more complicated, but is very much more of what we're going to do in Math 3. And so this is our last example for today, example 3. And so I have this triangle, and then in this triangle, I have this. And so this length here is 4, and this is 3. And then this length here, so that's this small length. This length here is 12. And then this height here is 9. And so this tells me, I was told that this is a small right triangle. So this is your pre-image, is this small triangle here. And your image is the larger one. So this here is your image. So I'm going to actually separate these so I can visually see them separated. So here's my pre-image triangle, and I'm going to separate out and put my image triangle here. And I'm going to put in my details that I know. So this is 4 and 3, and it says it was a right triangle, so I'm going to make sure I put that. And this, if it's pre-image right triangle, it's going to be a right triangle when I blow it up. And so this is 12 and this is 9. So if it's a right triangle, this is my image, pre-image, this is my image. If it's a right triangle and I want to find the missing sides now, I need to use my Pythagorean theorem to figure out what is C. But if I look at this 4 to 12 and 3 to 9, 4 times what number gives you 12? I hope you said 3. And 3 times what number gives you, or times what number gives you 9? Again, that's 3. So this is 3 times as large. My scale factor is 3. So whatever I get for C, I'm going to multiply that by 3 to get my other C. So I'm going to do my math on this one because it's smaller numbers. And if it's a right triangle, Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. You're going to use that a lot this unit, by the way. So if you don't remember it, it's time to learn it. So a squared would be 4 squared plus b is 3 squared equals c squared. 4 squared is 16 plus 3 squared is 9 equals c squared. 16 plus 9 is 25 equals c squared. Square root both sides, 5 equals c. So if this is 5 times 3, I get 15. And so now my missing sides I found was 5 and 15, and my scale factor is 3. So I hope that you understand this, and I hope that you use these notes to help you. Now you need to finish page 3 in your workbook. Okay, so finish page 3 in your workbook. That's your job at this point. And then you will have something else to do. When I come back to class, you need to make sure that you have these notes. I'm going to check the notes on the next day that I see you, either Tuesday or Thursday or Friday. So I will check notes next class. Alright, so make sure you watch these videos, or this video, and that you do your notes. Okay, have a good day, be good for the sub. I'll see you guys Thursday or Friday. Bye-bye.